Hey, what's up, fight fans? It is another edition, episode 3, that is, of the 0 Hour. I'm your host, Tim Loy, and of course, I'm joined by my co-host, Justin Watson, Jeff Hobbs, Torres Finney, Greg Hopkins. Stacked show for y'all here today as we prepare for our first events coming up, Aries 1, Aries 2. Aries 1 going down October the 30th from Camp Jordan Arena in Chattanooga. Aries 2, November the 5th from the world-famous Cotton Eye Joe in Knoxville, Tennessee. You can get your tickets for all these things at Fighter Tix. Quick rundown of the show, guys. We're going to lead things off with a conversation with one of our pros from Aries 1. We've got David Lightning Lewis. Then after that, we're going to talk to his opponent, actually. We're going to talk to Andrew Havener in round number 2. After that, we're going to do a complete rundown for Aries 2, which is November 5th. If you missed our rundown of Aries 1, you can go back to last week's episode and hear our early takes on the fights for Aries 1. Not a full predictions or breakdown, but early takes. We're going to do that today for Aries 2. And then we'll wrap the show up with some UFC talk, review of last week's show, quick picks for this week's show. But before we get to all that, let's hear from a word from our sponsor, our good friends over at Surface Seal. And when we come back, we'll have a chat with David Lewis.
Hey, my name is Spencer Kistner, owner of Surface Seal of Chattanooga. We understand that our customers want to feel confident that they have hired responsible, responsive, and trustworthy paving contractors to properly pave and maintain their homes and businesses. Therefore, our asphalt paving professionals are dedicated to bringing you the best quality in driveway contracting services. Whether you need asphalt seal coating, crack filling, patching, paving, striping, Surface Seal has you covered literally. Therefore, feel confident that we will make your asphalt paving experience a good one with us.
All right, we are back. Myself, my man Jeff Hobbs, talking to David Lightning Lewis. David, how's it going, my man?
Pretty good. Hard night of training.
Right on. You're set to return to the cage here on our first ever show. It's going down Aries 1, and it's October the 30th down in Chattanooga, down just north of your hometown there in Dalton. You're training there with the guys at Highest Stand. You're going to be taking on Andrew Havener there in catchweight fight, actually, 150 pounds. Let's talk a little bit about it, man. You know, it's been a while since you've been in action with us. We've missed you. We're excited to have you back. And, let's talk a little bit about this fight. What can we expect from this tussle we've got going down with Andrew Havener? He's another guy that, is known to be a pretty tricky grappler like yourself.
First off, I'm stoked to be back, man. It's fun to be fighting in a state closer to home. I've been fighting in Alabama. It's fun down there. I like the crowd down there, but it's just so much better to be at home. Man, this is going to be a good fight. This is going to be one of those ones where it's going to test me in the aspect of, am I getting just trick stuff, right? Like, so most of my wins have come off of me doing something and catching the guy in the middle of something. And so this is going to be one of those ones where the guy's going to be good enough to be able to give me an answer to a question that I'm asking him and see if it keeps on going. Pretty stoked about this. Didn't know it was at catchweight, though. I thought it was at 145.
Oh, wow. We're learning new things here. Yeah, man.
Hey, that's cool. I cut less weight.
Right. Hey, you know what? I like your breakdown on that, though. That's actually the first time I've heard that response to a question. So it kind of is a cerebral answer, and I can dig it, man. Andrew Havener making his pro debut, coming down here from Nice Guy Submissions, a team I'm sure you're familiar with from the grappling circuits and scene, whatnot. I don't guess you guys have crossed paths, but I'm sure your teams have crossed paths along the way. What are some of the things that he brings to the table that you think you need to watch out for?
Scrambling. He has a weird scrambling style. Like, it's not the same as like a wrestling scrambling style. It's kind of something different. So that's one of the things that makes me kind of excited. And again, I really want to take these fights now because, I mean, I'm older. I got 2 brothers. My youngest brother's probably got a little bit more talent. So I want to take fights that'll help me grow as a human being or help me grow as a fighter. I'm not really looking to make tons of cash in this. I want to help, like, prolong the possibility of Hyaston, prolong the possibility of a legacy, and so on. So yeah, the tools in the toolbox. I like the tools. I want to see what happens when I go up against that.
Jeff, what you got, my man?
Well, first off, man, just not a big fan of Dalton, Georgia. I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there, man. Every time I go through Dalton, David, I get a ticket. All right, every time. I swear to God, every trip to Florida that I've ever taken, Dalton, Georgia is the speed trap of the world. I know it's known for some carpet. You know, there's a lot of carpet places, but damn it, they get me every time with a speeding ticket. So, man, hey, last time I was down towards Chattanooga, man, I talked to your brother after his last fight, and I'd thrown it out there, man, how cool it would be for you guys to get on the next card together. It didn't happen this time, but you're close. You're so close. You're 1 week apart for this fight, man. So how has it been, leading up to the fight, knowing that you've got your brother just a week later too, man? You know, he's going to be in Knoxville the week after yours, not even a full week, 6 days after yours. But the fact that you guys have been able to kind of peak at the same time and train together, is that helped this camp out a lot?
Definitely, man. With Jordan is more of an experiment. Everything that I've learned throughout the years that had worked, everything that I've put into practice, whether it be monitoring heart rate, HRV, monitoring oxygen intake, and so on, cardio, peaking, and everything, I've put into Jordan. I'm very excited to see him fight in this card, because that means he's getting somebody that's a little bit more talented than everybody else. But I would love to be fighting on the same card as him. I don't know if the nerves on my end would hold up. I might get burnt out by just watching him fight before I fight. So you might have to put me before him and have an amateur fight above a pro fight, just so I don't freak out. But yeah, dude, it's pretty surreal, man, because I remember watching Jordan as like a 13-year-old little chubby kid breaking his finger playing basketball, and then him saying, I want to fight MMA. I was like, all right, let's do it. Next thing you know, 205, like, stud.
Well, we talked to him a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you had a chance to watch that interview, and he was kind of humble. He didn't really want to talk about it. So I'll ask you, with Jordan being the little brother, do you remember whatever the situation was or whatever time it was when little brother finally decided he was going to try you, when he finally thought that it was his time to step to big bro and try you, man? When did it happen? I know when my little brother did it to me. He one day out in the front yard, we're playing around, and he decided this was his day. This was his day. He was going to show me that he's a man. And not toot my own horn, slammed him so hard he never tried it again. Has that ever happened with you and Jordan?
No, my family's grew up in combat sports. I mean, when my brother went to Iowa and wrestled, so Jordan was always real humble with Josh. I've always done jiu-jitsu. So when I was like 12 years old, I started jiu-jitsu, and Jordan was like 4, right? He's 7 years younger than me, so he's 5, right? And so Jordan's always grew up with an assload of respect for me. The only time we ever had a tussle was whenever he was coming to age of a man, about 19, 20 years old, and he thought he didn't have to train. And so we would spar repetitively until he got tired. So we'd show him he have to train. He's never really stepped up to any of us. We've always had like a massive amount of respect for anybody that put any kind of time in combat sports. And I think it's really just the lifestyle of growing up with, my dad was a kickboxer. I kickboxed, I did jiu-jitsu, I fought MMA. Josh obviously did all 3 of those as well. And I think that he just respected us too much to really try to step up and try to beat us up. I mean, don't get me wrong, Jordan's a hard motherfucker to deal with. I will tell you that. He is a hard person to deal with. And whenever we're in there training, 205 on the freaking off day, like whenever he's not in shape, doing cardio, he's really heavy. He sucks the life out of you. He's hard to deal with, but we've never really gotten to tussles. Me and Josh used to get in tussles back in the day, and I think all of our stories, telling Jordan how we fight in the wrestling room, how before championship fights, me and Josh would throw down like dogs and stuff. I think that just kind of made him wise to the idea that it's not good to take any kind of unnecessary punishment and get animosity in your team. He's a really good team player.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, man, that's cool. That's cool to hear, man. Jordan is very soft spoken, and I'm real high on him. I think that he's going to have a real nice test just 6 days after your fight. So hopefully the momentum carries over. Let's talk a little bit more about yourself, man. So You've been in the game for going on a decade now. It seems like you've one of these guys that you were back in the old 3FC days, man. You've been around for a minute. What are some of the things that's changed in the game that you've seen over the last decade? What are some of the biggest changes you've seen from the scene then to the scene as it is now?
I watched a lot of promotions do some stuff like, okay, so we were at a kickboxing tournament this weekend, and the promotion put a lot of power into the venue itself. So it was a shit show for, I mean, not to talk shit. I don't know if I'm not going to say the name, but it was a shit show for the fighters. But for the audience, they were probably stoked, man. It looked great. It felt great. The atmosphere was crazy. They had all the music and everything. But they put a lot more into the venue and the look of it than they did with the fighters. And I watched most of those promotions kind of fail because they were trying to make it look too pretty. They were trying to make it look like the UFC. Nowadays, man, it seems like everybody's much more laid back. The community's fucking huge. Like, I never expected. There's up the road, there's a gym that has just as many fighters as we do, just as many people training as we do. And we can go up there anytime we want and just train with those guys. You know what I mean? Back in the day, we'd have to go to Knoxville to get that amount of just the amount of bodies that we'd get. Really just the awareness. The local circuit's blown up. You guys have done an amazing job at putting the local circuit on the spot. Like, I'd never expected to be in Chattanooga as many times as I've been in Chattanooga fighting. You know what I mean? So yeah, honestly, it's just blown up. I don't think there's any really. Everybody's much better. I'll tell you that. Back in the 3FC days, people were kind of crappy out there with like a 14-0 record, knocking people out, just swinging. Now everybody's like ninjas. They got freaking samurai swords. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, you're right, man.
The biggest thing I noticed.
I think that nowadays when you get a debut fighter, then you've still got to really prepare, because your debuts now versus your debuts then are kind of night and day. The debuts now are guys that have trained for years already, and are in well versed. So I would agree that it's definitely a lot tougher action out there. Looking at your own career here, man, it's been a little bit of inactivity for you over the last few years. I'm sure not been as active as you'd like to be. Is that something you're looking to change here over the next year? Are you looking to kind of really put the foot down on the gas and get some fights in here moving into 2022?
Man, my first 3 fights as a pro were me and my ego. And so after that, I had to go back to the jock board, go back to the drawing board, get my shit together, and then start getting some fights in. I've been getting before I would get injured like crazy as an amateur because I was overtraining, and then I stopped overtraining and didn't get as injured as much, had more fights, but just wasn't putting in enough work. And it's been a balancing act here lately, trying to stay from keeping from getting injured and actually making it to the fight. And then, this last fight, man, I was supposed to fight. And then 2 weeks before the fight, I caught COVID. And then, the first day was miserable. First day was absolutely horrible. And then after that, it was okay. But when I would go run, that's something that people talk about. But, dude, I would go run, and I would run a hill. I'd get to the top of the hill, and my cardio would just tank. Like, I wouldn't be able to catch my breath. Anyways. So yeah, I want to get at least 3 fights. I want to get another fight before Thanksgiving, if that's possible. I'll take a short notice fight. I'm very confident in my skills. I'm very confident in my training, my cardio. I don't think I've ever worked this hard intelligently. I know they say that whenever people are saying I'm working smarter, not harder, that's like a telltale sign that they're fucking out the door. But I'm not working smarter. I'm working fucking hard as shit and using science. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The Fauci science, but the real science. And so I feel really good. I'm 30. I got about 2 to 7 years, depending on what's going on, right? And so picking smart fights, trying to make sure that I get the looks that I need to make sure that my team is successful in the future.
Well, not to look too far ahead, but I like to hear that you may have eyes on something before Thanksgiving, because I may just have something for you, pending how this turns out. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Man, before we let you go, I want to give you some sponsor shout out time. If you got some friends, family, training partners you want to give some love to, love to let you have an opportunity to do that here, and also let people know where they can follow your social media so they keep up with your fights. As hopefully you're going to stay a lot busier here in the coming months. Especially, with Aries, we're going to be having a lot of shows in the coming months. So hopefully we can keep you busy, man.
Honestly, I got no sponsors. If I'm going to give shout outs, I'm going to go ahead and give them to my friends. Dennis Wall, he has a tree cutting company. If you ever want to get your trees cut, Dennis Wall, hit him up. Jake Phillips, he's got a lawn mowing company, cuts grass, amazing job, puts real effort into it. Hit him up. We got Herman Nunez. He has a handyman business. If you're going to hit anybody up for handyman stuff, that's the guy to hit up. Henry Torres does flooring. Hit Henry Torres up if you ever need any kind of flooring needs. And man, they're going to hate me if I forget one of my friends. Oh, freaking Crawl Logic. I think he's one of your sponsors as well. Freaking Josh.
Yeah, Josh Maynard.
He's a badass. Yeah, hit him up too if you guys need some crawl space work.
Hey, man, we appreciate the time. David Lewis, once again, you can catch him fighting professionally. It's October the 30th. It's going down in Chattanooga. Aries 1. You can get tickets at fightertickswithx.com. If you're coming to see David, make sure you select him so he gets credit. And if you can't be there in person, make sure you check it out on pay-per-view. That one's going to be on Spectation Sports. We appreciate the time, David. We'll see you here in just a couple short weeks.
Hey, thank you, man. I'm glad I'm actually on your podcast instead of ditching y'all.
Hey, we appreciate it. We'll have you back soon. All right, we'll be back here after this message from our sponsors, and we'll talk to David's opponent, Andrew Havener. We'll be back here in just a few.
American Roofing Company is a licensed public adjuster, general contractor, and roofing company here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We've been here for over 10 years. We are able to get you a next day roof right after insurance has approved it. That's what we did here at Mr. Durkovich's house. Got his roof approved for insurance, and we were able to negotiate his claim with his insurance provider. Right now, for this catastrophe, we're doing free tarpings and free inspections. Give us a shout today, and we'll be able to get you the roof you deserve. Remember, American Roofing Company has you covered.
All right, guys, we are back. And before we talk to Andrew Havener, we'll get some reactions here to our chat with Mr. David Lewis. It's been a while since we've had him in on one of our cages, so I'm excited to see him back. He's one of these guys that has got a whole lot of talent. His record is very deceiving. He's one of these guys that's got some wins in his back pocket over some very, very established fighters. And so he has the capabilities of beating anyone if he comes correct on that day. Justin, you've been around on the scene about as long as David, man. You guys both fought in the 3FC days. Your take on David Lewis's talk with us.
Yeah, man. I remember, David's first few fights, like you said, he beat Jonathan Pierce's second fight as an amateur. The kid's super talented. He's putting in the work. It seems like he's dedicated a lot of resources and energy to doing it the right way this time. I look forward to seeing him compete. I think it's going to be a lot of fun seeing what he's capable of, when he really puts the work in.
Yeah, no doubt. Torres, you've done some cross training, I believe, with Mr. Lewis. Your thoughts on this one, man? This is going to be a fun one. And you guys are about to talk to his opponent.
Oh, yeah, big time, man. I'm really excited for this matchup. David, after, multiple cross training sessions with those guys, man, he's a phenomenal talent, man. Really good, man. I mean, people talk about their ground game a lot at Hyaston, but, man, one of their undercover secrets, man. He got some really good stand-up, and I'm excited, man. With some really good wars between him and Brevin in here before. That was exciting to see. But, man, David, man, it's going to be something else, man. I'm excited for this matchup with him and Andrew Havener. And looking at the resume of Andrew, man, he's no slouch, man. So this is going to be a pretty interesting pro debut for Andrew off the back. So I'm excited.
Greg, you're definitely familiar with the brothers Lewis. All three of them. You've seen David coming up over the years. Your take?
Yeah, I like the bit you guys asked on the brothers, come to manhood and whatnot. When Jordan decided he's going to step up to David, because I have that same thing with my brother, and it was kind of brought me. I like that, but I like how he's talking about being at peace with everything that he's doing, and and confident in the science that he's working in with his fighting and stuff. And I've been on of it because like Finney said, he's got some really good stand up. He's got some Chris boxing, and I think he's going to play that here. Fantastic. Oh, sorry. Havner being a good guy on the ground. I'm excited for this matchup. He said you got to be ready for that first debut guy, and Havner's that guy.
Hobbs, wrap us up here. Your take here on our chat with David Lewis. He's definitely a very well-rounded fighter, but when you think your immediate take typically is going to be these Lewis boys can grapple.
Yeah, man. It's going to be a chess match on the ground. I think David knows that. I think Andrew knows that. I'm interested to see that jiu-jitsu that we know Nice Guy puts out, and just that gritty, come forward wrestling style of David, man. I'm like you. I really enjoyed his breakdown of the fight and how he's approaching it. It was unique to hear that. David, very well spoken, on his podcast. But, when we were talking about the difference between new school and old school, I think David has taken a new school approach. But David still got a little bit of that old school in him. He talked about the old school 3FC days, and I think he would agree that he has definitely still mastered the old school internet riling up of fighters in the area. And I love that he still sprinkles in from time to time on Facebook and on the internet, getting some of those, just getting people riled up, man. So I hope, I hope he keeps it up, and it's gonna make it a hell of a lot more fun on October 30th. He needs to pick that up a notch. I like it. It's old school, man.
Awesome. And it looks like we have got Andrew Havener about to join us. We're going to jump on into that talk with Andrew Havener right after one more word from our sponsor. We'll be right back. And Torres and Greg are going to chat with Mr. Lewis's opponent for October 30th.
What's up, Andrew?
What's up, buddy?
What's going on?
Can you hear us? We can hear you just fine. Hey, brother.
All right, yeah,
I got Finney and Greg, man. It's nice to have you on this. Nice to have you on the 0 hour, man. I just want to get with you and talk about your upcoming fight. Maybe you want to get into something some people don't know about you yet. Pro debut, man. We just got done talking to David Lewis recently, and he mentioned on how the game has evolved. He's a vet of the game. And I just wanted to get your take on, your pro debut. How do you feel coming into this match with David Lewis at Aries 1 right here? He's got a record. He's got some learning experience. He's got some big wins. You're coming in there with 0-0 record with nothing to lose and everything to win here, man. What's going on with you in your mind there?
Man, I'm just letting the coaches take care of the I guess, rigmarole, the fucking mindset, just trying to get it right. I'm excited. I've been doing this a long fucking time too long. I started back in 2007. So I've seen the evolution of it change from no commissions to commissions to too many rules, not enough rules. I don't know. It's been nuts. It's been a hell of a ride though. Took a long time to get here. That's for sure.
Well, your record's 8. Your Emmy record was 8-4. That's a really good record right there. You've got 12 fights. You said you fought in a lot, over this. But I want to go back on what David said about he said that these new guys coming in as a pro debut, he's not taking you lightly. He's really training for this fight.
Right.
He's taking it very seriously, as I know you are. I just want to know, tell us about where you fight, where you train at. Nice Guys. Tell us a little bit about your camp. Tell us what's going on there.
2 days, Monday through Friday, then hit it Saturdays and Sundays. I usually take off and chill it. Cardio and conditioning around 11:30 every day religiously. Mondays and Tuesdays are stand up, Mondays and Wednesdays are stand up, and Wednesdays my sparring sessions. So if I got some pretty marks on me, that's from that today. Man, they've been putting me through the grinder. It's, I mean, nasty. They just, wear me down. New fresh guy every minute. Wall wrestling. I mean, I know he's a tough wrestler and he's a tough kid. I say kid because I'm older, but I know he's a tough guy. He's going to be in there. He's going to be ready to go. So, I mean, I'm throwing a lot of, they've been throwing a lot of shit at me, and it's been fun. I mean, I hate it. It's breaking me down, but I'm ready for it. It's what it is. We prep for it in the gym so we can fight it, have fun fighting.
Well, that's big. That's big time, Andrew. Looking at your career so far, man, you fought a lot of tough guys, man. You went from, I seen on your record, you fought guys like Dan Bailey and Garrett Sharp, and you're one of the guys that only losses of Dan Bailey's career. You put him to sleep. So, I mean, man, you don't fought a lot of tough wars since 2007. So, how do you feel that your amateur career has helped you getting ready for your pro debut?
Yeah, I mean, it teaches you a lot. I was always told when I started to get the hard fights, and I'm not saying David Lewis in a hard fight because this is a tough fight, but they always told me to get your hard fights out of your way as an amateur so people will be scared to fight you as a pro. And, it made sense to me. And then whenever I came back in 2017, 2018, start training again to fight, that was the approach that we started taking. So, when they offered me Dan that fight, I knew he was going to be a tough guy. And I just wanted to show my grit at that point, get some ring rust off and get back into it. And then COVID and shit like that happened. So it slowed everything down, but we're here. We're here to make a statement. So.
Yeah. Greg?
Hey, man, that Garrett Sharp fight, what happened? I remember you were looking at me over there and you were saying, was it your hand going back?
Yeah. So when I went to the doctor, it's called a lumbrical tear. I've never even heard of it. I didn't even know it was a fucking ligament. Some climbers get it. I guess when I hit him, I pulled it. I did something to it in the fight, and then I couldn't close my hand. So as I was hitting it, it was making like I wasn't closing it fully. So it was shocking it, rocking, it felt, I broke that hand before and it felt like it had broke it. And like it went numb. It was tingly. I couldn't squeeze nothing, lost all my grip. That it was kind of I don't know. It was a weird feeling. And we seriously thought it was broke, even my corner, and at that point it had been a pro fight, it would have continued. But my coach at that point said, just, shut it down. Let's go, make sure if it's not broke, then we can get back in there. So, that was a fun fight, man.
I was enjoying it.
6 months. 6 months. It was,
are you still
however long it took me to get back with Loy. That injury's, that one's done. I mean, that's, yeah.
Speaking of 2 rounds, man, I know you want to stay active, bro. Like, I know you're trying to stay active, and David Lewis is not like the first one or the only one on your list, and I know you're not looking past him, but, like, are you looking to make a quick turnaround after this fight?
Possibly. Depends on how it goes. If it turns out like some of his fights have, I think I'm going to, if win or lose, I think I'm going to come out beat up. So, I mean, like I said, I know we're getting ready for a war. We're not getting ready for a 30 or 29-second fight like my last one. We're going in there, strapped and armored up, just ready for whatever. Yeah. If it's a quick fight, possibly. There's no telling, getting older, and I'm sure you guys can vouch on this, getting older and your body takes some stupid injuries sometimes that take forever to heal. So
I understand that completely. I'm 33 years old and I'm taking these things from this guy down here, Finney right below me, what I'm saying? He's been hammering piss off now. He left me down real soft and I'm grateful for it. Oh God, I was going to ask you, like, and I know that they didn't ask this on David Lewis's, but dude, I'm the degenerate of the group. I think I am the degenerate of the group. I don't know how much of a degenerate you are, but do you know that Action 24/7 is going to be sponsoring this, and you will be able to bet on yourself on this fight. You'll have live odds
I'll
on
be
this
betting
fight.
on myself.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if you guys are the first pro fight of the night, but let's just say you are. You will be the very first Aries fight to be able to bet on ever. And I just think that's cool. I'm slick jealous. I really am, because I was hoping it was going to be me, but it's not. So I don't know, man. I think that's cool. I don't know what the odds will be yet, but I'm excited to see that. I know you got to be.
Do what now? What was that last part? My boys started coughing on me.
And I know you just tell me a little what you think about being able to gamble on your own self and do that kind of, just that degenerate stuff. You will be the first ever blind one. It was just confirmed.
Have you ever talked to any of us from Nice Guy?
First one.
We are the biggest group of degenerates in the world.
I seen your picture on the Hydra Cup where you guys were all in the train behind each other. That was hilarious. That was awesome.
Yeah,
I don't know. We're trying to get Busch Light to sponsor us. We actually have a keg on tap at our gym. We're pretty. That's like our, pre-workout and after workout, serum, I guess. I don't know.
I love it, man. I love it. Bro, I'm excited to see you and David square off. You guys, come get your tickets at fightertickets.com. Put Andrew Havener in there as your fighter choice. Let him get his money. That's how he gets paid off. You want to give anybody some shout outs, some ones, training buddies, anything? Go ahead, man.
Of course, my team out at Nice Guy Submission Fighting. Everybody's been putting in work with me. My family, my friends, the kiddos, Wind Supply, Evansville, Fisher's Total Maintenance. Well, shit. Let me see if I can get it. Not get my ball sack in there. Looking forward to it. Hopefully David Lewis is ready. I'm sure he is. That was part of it. So here we are, man. Let's make a splash.
Well, I was going to ask you one last thing, one quick thing. It's more about the fight. What do you see going into this fight? I'm not trying to get you a game plan, but what do you see going into this fight against David? How do you see this fight playing out a little bit?
I don't know.
Sound bites.
It really depends on. I've seen him take some punches, and I know he's not scared to strike, but I know he's got a solid wrestling game. I heard you guys talking about it being a chess match on the ground, and that's, I don't know if he's scared of the ground game or if I'm scared of his ground game or however you want to look at it. To me, I think this is more of a calculated on how to get it to the ground or keep it off the ground, whichever way you want to look at it. So it might be a stand-up war. It may not. I don't know. Getting hit plays a toll on you. So some people like to punch, some people don't. Some people like to get hit, some people don't. So I'm ready wherever it goes. Let's put it that way. So his fights have been every fight he's had has been a little different. He's had some stand-up battles. He's had some ground battles. So, I'm excited. I'm just ready to get in there and bang. Yeah.
Yeah, man. October 30th, you guys heard it right here from Andrew Havener. Go to fightertickets.com. Now we're going to hear from our sponsors, guys.
Hey, my name's Spencer Kistner, owner of Surface Seal of Chattanooga. We understand that our customers want to feel confident that they have hired responsible, responsive, and trustworthy paving contractors to properly pave and maintain their homes and businesses. Therefore, our asphalt paving professionals are dedicated to bringing you the best quality in driveway contracting services. Whether you need asphalt seal coating, crack filling, patching, paving, striping, Surface Seal has you covered literally. Therefore, feel confident that we will make your asphalt paving experience a good one with us.
It's okay.
All right, man. We are back. Great talk with Andrew Habener and David Lewis. Looking forward to those guys throwing down. Both pretty humble guys, honestly. Nobody really talking a lot of shit, but we both know both of those guys are super dangerous. Justin, your take on our talk with Mr. Habener. You've probably been there for the majority of his amateur fights that I've matched.
Yeah. He, like you said, he started a long time ago, took a little break there, and since he's been back, he's looked phenomenal, taking on the toughest challenges he could get. It seems like, and I think he seems like he's in the gym grinding, getting the lumps and the bruises now and getting it out of the way. And man, I think it's gonna be a hell of a fight.
Jeff, this is one of those sleeper fights. I think this is one that may be flying under the radar a little bit, but I have a feeling it's going to deliver.
I do too, man. Like I said, if you already know the background of David Lewis, and then you add on that, I know Nice Guy is a Sean Hammond's affiliate. That's where their jiu-jitsu comes from, and I know how slick. If you were at any of the Hydra Cups, Nice Guy's jiu-jitsu is fucking slick, man. So this is gonna be a good match. It's gonna be a good sleeper. The only thing, and I guess it's probably just too close to the fight, because the only thing Andrew was missing was actually drinking a Bud Light or a Busch Light during that damn interview, because he looked like he had no problem drinking one. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Those are some good dudes up in Kentucky. Or no, they're in Evansville, right?
They're in Evansville.
Evansville, yeah.
Those Habener brothers are kind of like, they're like the whipping boys for Bobby Emmons and Jesse Ray and those guys up there. So those guys are getting put through their fucking ringer in preparation for this fight. It makes them tough as shit.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, let's jump into the main show. Reminder, give us a like, give us a subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you can know every time that we have an episode up for y'all. We've got lots of fighter focus interview features posting over the next few days. I know we've got one going up with Trip Hallman. I know Zane Burton's out there somewhere. We're going to talk to Dustin Bailey, the opponent for Jordan Lewis, tomorrow. So stay in tune with us and hit that subscription bell, and you can get notified every time. Also, give us a like and a follow on our Instagram and our Facebook pages, and that'd be awesome if you do that for us as well. Let's get into it, guys. Before we get into our main segment here on the upcoming November 5th card, we're going to get early takes. Torres, we've had an opponent change for you. Unfortunately, we fight that we were very much looking forward to. COVID has reared its ugly head again. Colin Robinson out with COVID. Unfortunately, hopefully he gets on the mend quickly from that. You're hearing it here first. We'll drop this tomorrow, but you're hearing it here first. New opponent now for Torres for that inaugural 185 Aries title. It's going to be Andre Johnson from down in Alabama. He's a big, strapping young man, former football player, very well put together. Torres, talk a little bit about, obviously the disappointment in the Colin Robinson fight falling out, but, what you have to look forward to in Andre. What does he bring to the table?
Yeah, man, I really wanted to fight Colin, man. That was a big-time fight for me. I also know it was a big-time fight for himself as well. Colin, had COVID, and that's what he got. I wish the best for him. Hope everything's good with him, man. And that's the thing about my amateur career so far. I mean, I only got 4 fights, but I put myself in about at least 10 of them, and I had a lot of guys pull out on me. So I'm glad. I feel like Andre Johnson's one of those guys that will show up when time comes. It's funny, before he fought my teammate Zane, he was talking a little bit, and he said he was gonna fight me for my belt after he beat Zane. And funny thing is, he didn't beat Zane, but he's still getting that opportunity, and I'm excited to still give him that chance, and for me and him to be able to go at it. And for the 185 title, man, I'm excited. It's gonna be a banger, man. He's game. I mean, he got to remember he won the first round against Zane, so. He comes, and he's going to come hard, but I'm excited, man. I love a guy that's come hard and can try to come and take me out, because you got to be ready. But I always say, be mindful of what you wish for. So you asked for me, you got me, but it's not what you want.
Hey, tell you what, man, we're going to definitely try to get Andre on the show here in the coming weeks so we can get his take and introduce everybody to Andre as well. He's a great young man. I was around him quite a bit at the last event, and it's definitely a different type of opponent for you here. You know, both guys are athletic. Colin, I think you would be more of a technical fighter, if you will, whereas Andre is he's got that explosives and he's a powerhouse, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing about Andre, man. He comes out hard early, man, and that's very similar to my style. You know, I come out hard early, and that's just boom. Unstoppable force meet the immovable object. You know, those two guys coming out at the start of the bell, and that's the way I fight, and that's the way he fights. So I'm excited to see what happens. But the beauty of it is, we got some rounds in there, so. It's a 5-round fight, so we got to see who lasting all the way to the end, if it even makes it that far. So I'm excited for this fight, man. No better way to have a title fight for this 185 title, man. He's a good, solid opponent to step in, taking over Colin's place. And man, I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see a lot of good things out of Andre. But I am ready, and I am ready for any 185er at this point. I've been so happy. I've been ready to fight for a long time. July. I know July only feels like 3 months, but man, that was a long time. After a few weeks, I was ready to get back at it, and I'm excited, man. These 2 weeks cannot come fast enough.
Fighters need to fight, man. I'm excited for it as well. That's October the 30th. We're going to be talking a lot more about that here in the coming weeks. Let's get into our next segment, guys. This is Aries 2. We're going to run down the card just like we did with Aries 1. You can catch that last week's episode if you want to hear our early takes preview of Aries 1. We're going to get into Aries 2 here. I'm going to run through the fights in a few segments. We'll go around the horn, get early takes. Again, we're not asking for predictions just yet. If you got one, you can give one, but just overall early takes, as we are still about 3 weeks out here from Aries 2 main event. Of course, we've been talking about that here for the last couple of weeks. First ever Aries 170 title on the line. It's going to be Dustin Bailey putting his O on the line against Jordan Lewis, brother of David Lewis, who we spoke to earlier. And Jordan has his own interview floating around here on the channel too. Make sure you check that out. Jordan Lewis out of High Stand, Dustin Bailey representing Team Manning out of Virginia. You know, they always bring that tough grappling. The co-main event, Blake Carroll of Independent MMA, 4-1, has been out for several years, but was a pretty well hyped prospect, I think, up until his hiatus. He'll be taking on a guy that we're familiar with, Tristan Scarborough. That fight just got moved up to a catchweight of 195 yesterday. Tristan, this will be his first fight with the Hobbs Jackson Wink camp, so I'll be interested to see how what improvements he's made coming out of that camp, taking on a tough Blake Carroll. We've got Trip Hallman taking on Dustin Garrett. That's a fun little fight. Trip Hallman also has an interview floating around out here somewhere. Check it out. Always brings a nice crowd there, and he's taking on a very scrappy Dustin Garrett, a guy that we've seen many times. He's definitely going to give Trip a nice test as he drops down to 145 for the first time. Kickboxing action. This one I've kind of got circled as fight of the night contender. Jake Phillips out of High Stand. We've seen him lots of times, man. Very tough, long, rangy kid taking on Joseph Hishmeh out of the Shield Systems camp. Another very talented kid that we've seen several times. Two really solid camps going at it. Rounding out this first flight of fights. It was only brought to my attention this weekend, but we've got Cowboys versus Native Americans. I don't know. I shouldn't. I'm sorry. But we got the Black Cowboy, Julian Goins, taking on Hunter Campbell. Hunter Campbell, a proud Native American. You know, he's out of the Nashville area, Taekwondo background. This will be his first fight, so I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. Julian Goins, of course, the Black Cowboy, bouncer up there at the Cotton Eye Joe. We've seen him a couple times. Last time out, didn't get it done in a title attempt against Big CJ Baker. That was a big step up for only his second fight. Still had a pretty nice showing for himself. Before that, had just a vicious knockout in seconds in his debut. So that'll be a fun heavyweight fight. That should have the crowd turn up. We'll go around the horn. Early takes on this group, Justin Watson.
Man, there's several of these fights that get me interested. I really like the Trip Hallman and Dustin Garrett fight at the end. It's going to be super scrappy. The crowd will be into it. Both those guys, bring the pace, bring the action every time. I'm looking forward to the kickboxing match as well. Joseph Hishmeh and Jake Phillips are both, top level strikers in the area. So that'll be a fun matchup to watch. I'll probably have my hands full in that one. And in that co-main event, Tristan Scarborough and Blake Carroll. I know Tristan's, busting his ass. He's scary looking. He's a mean son of a bitch. So that'll probably be a fun fight too.
Jeff Hobbs.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy this last show of ours before Tim, because Tim just got us canceled. It's politically.
I don't know how many lines I crossed there. Everyone I've offended, I'm so sorry. I really didn't mean to.
Cancel culture. The funny part is though is Julian is the one that brought it up to us.
Oh, I know.
He's the one that noticed. Man, this top of the card, man, is when we put this card together, we were just like, well, we'll kind of have a small show, some so-so fights, some average type fights, and you look at the top of this card, man, like how the hell did we get this? This is pretty hot, man. Jordan Lewis, Dustin Bailey. We talked to Jordan Lewis a couple of weeks ago, man. I'm excited for that one. A lot of intrigue here. Again, Scarborough's a friend of the show, and definitely interested, and that's got intrigue on how the transition to Hobbs, Jackson, Wink, how that's treated him, and will we see some different wrinkles in his game? Trip Hallman, we talked to him earlier today. He's going to bring a crowd. He's been on a 3-fight win streak since dropping his debut, but he has got a true grinder in the game with Dustin Garrett. Hishma is definitely somebody I'm so glad to see him back on a card, because I was excited, to see him on there, because when he's fought in town before, he was definitely an exciting fighter, and him and Jake Phillips is going to be, fire. And then again, you want to get the crowd at the Joe wound up. You put Julian Black Cowboy Goins in the cage. They're there to support him, and every guy that he has thrown out of there is there to watch him get his ass whooped. So either way you look at it, they are there to see Julian get in the cage.
Greg, what's your thoughts here on the top of the card here?
Top of the card, of course, I'm excited about Jordan Lewis and Dustin Bailey. I mean, we just went over them 3 times. Hell of a fight, and I know that we haven't got to mention it. In between that fight, we're going to be having some ring girl contest activity, so I'm excited about that.
Yes.
All right, and then you go down to Blake Carroll and Tristan Scarborough. As Justin said, Tristan Scarborough is a scary dude. Blake Carroll 4-1. I'm excited about this one. Both of these guys are going to be big boys. Ring's going to shake. Going down Trip Hallman. Oh, wait, hold on. In between that right there, you're going to have some ring girl contest. All right, yeah. All right, and then what we say we go down to Hallman and Garrett. Yeah, that's going to be a scrap on the ground. Anytime Garrett steps in that cage, it's always going to be like that. And a hitter like Hallman, I'm excited for this one. And then moving on down, we got some ring girl contest in there. Joseph Hishma and Jake Phillips. Anytime Phillips steps in there, and then now we got Shield Systems coming aboard. We're going to see a lot of those guys here soon. And they're all ready. They all come stellar. And then right before that, we're going to have some ring girl contest right there. And then of course Julian Goins, Hunter Campbell. Somebody's getting knocked out. We're not going the distance there. I'm excited for that. The Joes will blow off right there. And then right before that, ring girl contest.
Torres, what stands out to you, man? You got you got the big boys in here. I know you always like to see the big boys throw, and you fought Tristan.
Yeah, man, yes. Straight off the co-main event is anyway. I am excited to see Tristan get back in there, man. It's been a minute since he's been there. Last fight was against Colin, and he's been really anxious to get back in there. He's finally in a established gym and being able to train and get consistent work. He's ready to show off his skills and all the things that he's able to harness now that he's at Jackson Hobbs Wink. And I'm excited to see him go against Blake. Blake is 4-1. Blake is a solid opponent. I've seen some film on him, and I think that's going to be a really good matchup, man, between those two. Really, they're going to throw down a lot. And I'm excited to see this main event, as we already all highlighted. I mean, Jordan Lewis, Dustin Bailey. Man, this is going to be a good one, man. Dustin Bailey, man, he's been finishing guys in the span of seconds in his last 2 fights. And Jordan Lewis, man, he does not back down from no one. And I mean, man, if anybody seen his last fight against Justin Abner, you saw that. I mean, that joker just kept coming. I love watching Jordan Lewis fight. He's exciting. And, you know, we got another fight as well. One of the big fights, Julian Goins. I'm excited to see him, man. I never forget his debut when he had that crazy knockout, because that was absolutely nuts. He did have a really good showing against CJ, but, you know, CJ was a better wrestler that night, man. You know, when you got two power guys like that, any shot can put either one away. So, not blaming CJ for that. Yes, take him down, CJ. You don't want to get hit by that. So, Julian, man, he's doing his thing, man. I'm excited to see him fight, man. So, going to be some big-time fights on November 5th, man. I'm really excited. Really excited.
Looking at the middle portion of the card, this is where you got some debuts, you got some guys we're going to know. We'll run down this part real quick, and then the last segment is like debut city, so we'll have limited information there. But let's see, this segment we've got some Agogi representation. Richard Guerrero looking to hold his O, taking on Ratavius Thrasher, teammates of Andre Johnson, actually. So they're going to be in town for like the whole week, man. They're going to be here, working both shows. We got another Agogi fella, Kobe Ford, a guy who looked really good in his debut. He came out there and got a win over Peyton Newton in like 13 seconds, just like muscled on this like modified guillotine or something. To me, it looked like he was just like shoving his chin down into his chest, but like he got a quick tap. And so he's going to be coming back. He's going to be taking on Michael Miller out of Independent MMA. This is another Agogi versus Independent MMA battle here, guys. You know, we've got the Brennan Johnson going down in October. We had Brennan take on Khalil Sims before, and now we get Kobe Ford, Michael Miller. Maybe the beginnings of a little rivalry here. We've got a 130 catchweight. Vincent Van Alstyne returns. We saw him earlier in the year with a victory over Ray Hewlett pretty impressively. He's looking to go to 2-0, representing Hobbs Jackson Wink, taking on young Cody Ortiz. This will be his debut, but we did see him do tie against Blake Spence. He had a tough outing in that one, but Blake Spence is he's really, really tough. Cody actually showed a lot of heart in that one, so I'm excited to see him make his MMA debut representing a Striker Fight Center down there in Kennesaw. We got Josh Denham looking for his first win. He's 0-2 thus far, but he's been in there really tough. Fought CJ Baker, and then he had another tough fight after that. He's representing Ian Lawler, Somerset Martial Arts. He's taking on the debuting independent Josh Schleusler from down in Maryville, a friend of Lee Radford's, as it were, a co-worker of his. So we'll see what Josh Schleusler brings to the table. And rounding out this flight, we've got our next Agogi representative. It's Dustin Berry. Don't know much about him. He's a debut, taking on Jorge Lomas out of the UFC Gym Murfreesboro. We did see Lomas about a month or so ago in a losing effort versus another debut opponent. But that fight was at 170. He was giving up quite a bit of size in that one, and I thought he showed a lot of grit and heart, actually. He was in some bad spots, and he worked his way out of them. Pretty tough guy, and I think at 155 he'll be much better suited. We'll go in reverse this time. Torres, thoughts on this middle segment? Any insight you can give us on some of these Agogi cats?
Yes, I'm gonna give you a quick little insight. Gonna be a little stirring up a little bit. I'm excited. So Richard's fight against Ratavius. So y'all know we've cross-trained a little bit with Hyaston here and there. But the funny thing is, man, every time we cross-train, the only people that never go with each other is Jordan Lewis and Richard Guerrero. Jordan, I mean,
just in case.
I think let's be honest. I mean, you know, Richard, I mean, it's a potential that if Jordan Lewis does win, you know, Richard's looking forward to going
after that fight.
Title. And, man, it's crazy. Rio had a lot of good cross-training sessions, and they will never go with each other because they actually got their suspicion that they might be each other's next opponent. And so it's fun to have that in the room when you're training.
I like it.
So it's exciting, man. But I'm excited to see Richard get back in there, man. He's an exciting fighter to watch. He brings the energy. He comes out hard, man. I'm excited. Another guy we have on there, Kobe, man. Boy, he's very similar to Q, man. They just go out there and fight, man. They just go out there and do their thing, man. And he's gonna come out there tough. He's gonna come out there hard, and he's gonna just display. He's gotten better in the gym, man. He has been training much more often. Before their first fight, he wasn't training much, but he's been training a little bit more. So he's getting better, and I'm excited to see what Kobe brings to the table. And then now you got Dustin Berry, man, and Dustin, man, former wrestler, wrestled a little bit in Georgia. He placed his state, wrestled on Team USA as well. So he's a really good wrestler, man. Also a little former boxer. He did a little boxing as well. So you got some hands on him as well. He can take you down. So I'm excited to see Dustin come out there and come out hard, man. So we got some good showing at the gym, and I'm excited to see some of these new cats step up.
Greg, what you think?
Just as Finney said, I'm excited to see Dustin Berry. We've seen Dustin Berry and Spencer Kistner have some battles, along with both Spencer and Dustin taking them licks in with Brisbane Sullivan, and just I know that Dustin Berry will come ready with George Lamas, and I remember him fighting in that losing effort. That was he did show a lot of heart, a lot of go towards like so. But I think George will be down at his actual weight at 155 instead of fighting a guy at 170. So that's going to be a good fight, coming up in there. Another one that I'm excited to see though, I want to see Kobe Ford. I get tickled to death by him and Q because there's no background, there's no martial art. It's just hey, fuck it, we'll fight. Let's do it. So I just get excited, and they just grab a hold and get. And these guys end up in positions that are just. I mean, I don't know how they end up in the position they end up in, and then they just end up just snatching something up real quick on people, and you're just like, Jesus, I don't understand.
I am still shocked that Q hit a standing guillotine his debut. I can never.
I know, man. That's what I'm saying. Well, and then we're gonna see something else, from Kobe Ford. That's just, these boys are athletes, and then out there, my boy, I love Richard Guerrero, dude. Love that guy. Ratavius Thrasher. Don't let that 0-2 record fool you. Do not let it fool you. Ratavius Thrasher is coming to take off Richard's head. 2-0 versus 0-2. This is a tough fight right here for Richard, and I think that Richard's going to have to keep his hands up here because Ratavius is coming for that one. He's trying to get that O off his record and take that O off Richard's record. So I think
keep in mind Ratavius's last opponent was Dustin Bailey, which is no slouch.
Yeah, so I'm saying and for the first so many what was it, a minute or something, had an outstanding appearance. So I'm ready to see that one right there in particular because I've been working personally a little bit with Richard, and I would like to see how he comes up from there. I'm excited for that. Oh, I forgot to mention, in between every one of those fucking fights, we're going to have some ring girl contests going on. Just letting you guys know
that. Jeff.
Yeah. If everyone will just look right here. You might know. We were out recruiting this weekend.
We had a fruitful trip.
Yes, we did. A lot of very fine.
Who's that guy behind him back there?
I know somebody's photobombing behind the two ladies there. I don't know. But man. Besides the ring girl contest that will be taking place in between all of these fights, for me, man, this second part of this card is an introduction for a lot of these fighters for me. So just listening to Greg and Torres kind of give us a heads up on a lot of these guys. It has me looking forward to them, but definitely, Guerrero is somebody you got to watch. He's exciting. It's really cool to hear that, in his mind, he's already thinking a couple steps ahead, possibly. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's definitely not a looking past your opponent type thing. It's goals, man. It's goals, and he knows where he wants to be, and he sees the path. So really interested to watch that fight because Thrasher, like you guys said, 0-2 doesn't tell the story. That dude is no chump whatsoever. And if Thrasher does not keep his hands up, he cannot play that game with Ratavius Thrasher. Aside from that, Vincent Van Alstyne, looks like we are slowly, getting down to 125, Tim. Mm-hmm. I know that's where he said he's supposed to be and wants to be. We just keep taking little baby steps to get there. So here we are against a debut Cody Ortiz from Stryker. So I can't wait to see another version of Van Alstyne. and see what's up with that. And, Dustin Berry, listening to you guys talk again, between him and Kobe Ford, these are two guys that I'm just not familiar with, but can't wait to get introduced to.
Justin, any guys stick out to you?
Yeah. Is Schlescher, is he going to bring the crowd that Lee brings?
Well, that's hard to rival, but he's got a contingency coming.
Yeah, that'll be fun, man. I guess that you said they work together.
Yeah, I think they work at Denzo down there in Maryville. Yeah.
Has he been training anywhere or just?
No, he's not with the gym really per se. I believe Lee said that he's a transplant from Florida. So before he moved here, I think he did train some down there. So I don't think he's just a complete novice.
I got you.
I will say, Justin, looking at ticket sales though, Lee's already bought a table. So if that tells you anything, Lee's coming strong. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that he might bring his whole crowd. Yeah, there's some fun fights on here, man. Not a lot left to say. Everybody said that first fight, Guerrero and Thrasher, I think is going to be a gnarly fight. I think those guys both bring it every time, and that'll be a fun one. Vincent and Cody Ortiz. That's going to be a good one. Like I said, we saw Cody do some kickboxing before. Vincent is super well-rounded everywhere, whether it's, stand up or on the ground. So I know he's coming ready to fight. And then, that George Lopez, like you guys said, he fought a little heavier last time, but he was a scrambler. He looked like he had some skills, maybe being down to 155 will prove a little better for him. But from the sounds of it, he's not got an easy task with Dustin Berry.
Moving on to the early portion of this card, there's a lot of debuts here. Literally every person that we're about to talk about is looking for their first win. Not all debuts, but everybody's looking for that first win. So we're going to have a lot of happy motherfuckers, I believe, going into this first intermission. Not a whole lot to say about these guys. Maybe you all have something to add, but we've got tie bout, Harrison Raymond, a debut out of Shield Systems. Not sure what to expect there, but I do expect him to come prepared if he's representing Shield Systems. Taking on Jared Bratfish out of Juggernaut Boxing. That's up there in Florence, Kentucky, near Louisville. That's Jeff Johnson's group. They have typically had pretty good showings down here when they've brought guys. We've got Patrick Taylor, who's a buddy of James Arden down in Maryville. Y'all remember James Arden, one of the toughest 0-3s you're going to come across. He never could get that win, but like every fight he was in was just like a gnarly war. He just would come out on the wrong side. This is his buddy. This is his protege, Patrick Taylor, making his debut against Bud Cook, looking for that first win. We know Bud well. I actually think that this will be one of Bud's better opportunities here to snatch one up here against an independent fighter making his debut from Maryville. Caleb Holt, guy we know very well, one of our camera operators / cage crew / jump in there and save a fight if he needs to. Catch all, looking for his first win. He's 0-3, but he's fought pretty tough. He fought Lee. He fought some tough guys. He'll be making the drop down to 165. Now, Caleb's fought these fights at like 185 and above. So this is going to suit him better. He's going to be taking on Bud Cook's friend, Brian Hurlbert, who we saw make a very short notice debut in kickboxing a few months back. He stepped in to save a fight against Troy Williams from Hobbs J-Dub. And props to him, man, because nobody else trying to step in there with Troy Williams. It looks like they were ducking him left and right. So props to Brian. He got in there and saved that fight. Now he's going to be making his MMA debut with a proper camp. So he'll be looking to knock off Caleb Holt. Caleb Holt be looking to get him a win there. I actually think that's a pretty good little scrap. Dylan Vowell of Juggernaut Boxing will make his debut in an MMA bout. This is one of the few times you'll see Juggernaut doing MMA. They speak highly of Mr. Vowell. He's going to be taking on Eli Wilson, also making his debut from Upstate Karate. This is the younger brother of Weston Wilson, who we know well. This will be his first fight as an amateur at 170. We've got a debuting 185s, Andrew Murr, an independent. He's out of Greenville. He trained some with the Gamma group up there, but they're not claiming him here. So this is It's an independent fight technically. He's up there with Brandon McGee, Dale Dodds, those boys. He's taking on Patrick Brown out of Venable Combat. That's up in Middlesboro, Kentucky. Ben Rowland trains there. They haven't had a lot of fighters come out of there besides Ben Rowland, but they're high on Mr. Patrick Brown. We'll see what these guys can bring to the table. And then opening up, we've got Muay Thai action. Justin Cruz out of Ian Lawler's Somerset Martial Arts makes his debut against a Gogi debutante, Aiden Howell. Greg, I'm going to let you start on this round. I don't expect you guys will have too much on these debuts, but if you got anything, bring it.
I honestly, I hate to say this, but I didn't know that Aiden Howell, I knew he had a fight. I just didn't know it was on this card. He's a green one coming from a Gogi. He's young. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he's a wrestler. But if he's taking them, I could be wrong. I'm not sure, Finney. Did he wrestle?
No. He did it a little bit coming out of middle school, early high school.
Okay.
No, nothing.
I wasn't sure. Well, but I seen him and Briven doing some Muay Thai the other day and some hard rounds where there was some oohs and ahs, and there was some women in the background watching and like, hey, y'all need to stop them. And I'm like, no, they're fighting, you know. I mean, like, that's what we do. And but they were going hard, and Aiden was taking some shots, and he was giving some shots. I'm excited to see him like actually go out there and do that. And as far as the Dylan Val and Eli Wilson, I'm excited to see that one at 170. I think that'll be an eye opener for the night. Maybe one of the ones that really kick off the card. Caleb Holt, love seeing him. He's always like the day saver coming in with another day saver, Brian Holbert, man. Like the battle of the savers. You know, I love that. Patrick Taylor and Bud Cook. You know, Bud Cook's going 12. I got to see him get one. You know, I got to see him get one. All these guys right here, all of them are either debuts or do not have a win yet. And I'll tell you, throughout this whole duration of this first segment, the most I am going to be excited about, the first person getting that dub is going to have to be the Ring Girl contest, because we've never had one. It will be the first one that we ever have had, and I hope it happens all the time.
Oh, sorry.
That's Maya.
Good stuff.
I'm sorry.
All right, Torres, what you got on this early section here? Not a lot of meat on the bone here early.
I agree, man. A lot of debuts, as you already said. I'm excited to see some of these guys for the first time. You see a lot of good things out of these debuts, man. Some they come out really hard because it's their first fight. So I'm excited to see Aiden. I'll spar with Aiden here and there a few times. He's nice with it a little bit. It's gonna be new for him. He's 19, so he wants to get in it. I think he is gonna try to. He has done a few MMA classes, so he's eventually gonna make the transition over. But he's currently doing Muay Thai, the kickboxing, I believe. The fight to get himself comfortable inside the cage. So I'm excited to see him get ready and do this. And that's some Caleb. He's another guy I'm excited to see, man. I'm ready for him to get that dub, man. I know he's been really wanted, man. He's been there with some tough guys. He's been fighting a lot of tough guys, like you say, way above his weight. So man, is happy, and I'm finally glad to see him finally get some around the weight he want to be at. And there's gonna be some interesting debuts, man. I just gotta keep my eye on a lot more of them, but I'm excited to see them.
Justin.
Yeah, man. The only couple that I really know much about on this one is Caleb Holt and Bud Cook. Caleb definitely looks like he's been putting work in for this one, unlike what he has in the past. So that'll be fun to see him get out there and really, show us what he's got. And then Bud Cook obviously coming back up here, making that drive for the 13th time, I guess. You gotta love the guy, man. Just he's gonna keep going till he gets one, I guess. So, but it's gonna be a fun way to start out the night. There's a lot of, like you say, a lot of guys without much experience, but some solid gyms. So we'll see some good fights in this early round.
Jeff, wrap us up.
Yeah, man. Probably a little worse than the last section, man. A lot of guys that I just not familiar with, going to get introduced to. So since I don't have a lot to add, and since we've talked about the Ring Girl contest,
let's talk details.
Let's talk details, all right? And so, listen, on a serious note, man, we're going to talk about how the night's going to go. As you guys know, we've had a lot of people, a lot of young ladies sign up. And the way the contest is going to go, it's going to be it's going to be events throughout the night, things that each girl will compete in these events, and I'll break them down for you guys. So one event will start out with the walkout song. So just like a fighter, it's all about the perfect walkout song. So each girl will pick their perfect walkout song, and that's how they'll be introduced to the cage and introduced to the crowd. So they'll be judged on the effectiveness of that walkout song. Did it get people hype, and did it explain her personality correctly? Next, you guys are at shows. Greg Torres, when you're doing commentary cage side, we do the T-shirt throw out every show, man. So it's all about throwing that T-shirt out. So the contestants are going to throw out T-shirts to the crowd. It's all about making that crowd want that shirt. They're going to be judged on distance, accuracy, and making the fans beg for that 100% cotton damn T-shirt. The next event will be the fan pick. Obviously, fans love taking pics with ring girls. So we're going to have little raffle tickets through, to start out the night before the show gets started. And whoever's ticket gets drawn, they will be our guinea pig who stands in the cage and gets a selfie photo op with each ring girl. So it's all about
how much
it's all about Greg, don't get yourself in trouble, man. Don't get yourself in trouble.
We'll get this shit off my screen. I'm already in trouble right now. Dude, she's gonna come in here and put me off and everything. It's over with. How much of the raffle tickets, bro? You can tell me. I got about
10. Greg's gonna go to Hobby Lobby and try to get a stack on his own. So it'll all be about that fan pick, man. Next, obviously, we're here for the how you hold that ring card. So each girl will take one lap around, show off the ring card, check out her swag and her step as she goes around. Then we're going to do a belt presentation. So it'll be a timed event. How fast can she get that belt around a fighter's waist and snap together, hands off the belt? So that'll be an actual timed event. And then we'll close it down with, obviously, crowd applause. So the judges will listen to the crowd applause. Whoever's got the loudest applause will be scored accordingly. So every girl's going to go through an event. When it's all said and done, they're going to be tallied up. And at that point, we will find some young lady that's going to walk out of there with, I don't know if it's going to be 10 $100 bills or 1,000 ones, maybe some fives. I don't know. And we haven't decided yet. But they're going to walk out of there with $1,000 cold hard cash.
Tell them how they can sign up for it, Jeff. If you still, if they're out there still and they want to get in on this.
Yeah. So basically, just go to Aries Fight Series at gmail.com. You send over your interest. We will send back kind of a breakdown of the rules, the attire to be worn. We have plenty of girls interested, but just like Fights Tim, you can vouch for this. If you want a 10 fight card, you got to book 20 of them to make sure that you get enough. So we are definitely still taking applicants just in case we have some fallout or get cold feet. I don't necessarily know that that's going to be the case, but just go to Aries Fight Series at gmail.com. Send us your age, your name, a pick, and we'll be announcing those people here shortly.
And if you're watching along at home, stay tuned because we'll have an option for you to vote for the contest from the comforts of your own home through combatcast.tv. So more information on that to come. Moving on to our next segment, guys. Very quickly here as we're starting to run along. UFC Vegas 39 in the books. Oh, so brief takes, guys. What's your biggest takeaway from this card? Mackenzie Dern, Marina Rodriguez was the main event. Greg, I'll let you go first because you are going to have to eat crow on your lock of the week.
I'm sorry. I was
overall biggest takeaway on this UFC event. Sabina Mazo was the lock of the week that Greg put out there for the record. And she did not get it done.
That's the biggest upset, man. Walking away from that right there. Another upset was Phil Hawes and Darren Wynn not getting a fight. Let's see here. One that I don't know, man. That Meza one just disappointed me. I'm just going to keep that one there. That was the biggest disappointment.
Torres.
So this is for the upcoming card, right?
No, this is just biggest takeaway from last week's card.
Well, I've been paying attention to probably a few fights. I wasn't really interested in the name, but after watching, I did see some of the main event. What is her name currently?
Marina Rodriguez.
Yes, Rodriguez. So I did see some of her fight. She did look crisp early on, and I mean went up to a decision. But I mean it was one of those cards, man. It was hard to really get excited for. So,
Yeah, and they're not giving us much better this week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I was, and it is college football time, so I was watching a little bit of college football. And if anybody didn't notice, you had the big fight of the night, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. So that was really interesting to keep an eye out on. But man, I'm excited to see what UFC brings. We already know in a few weeks they're gonna have a bigger card, UFC 262, I believe. So that's gonna be really good.
Justin.
Yeah, it was fortunate that we had the Fury Wilder card because there wasn't a ton on the UFC card on that night. Probably the fight that I enjoyed the most was Charles Rosa and Damon Jackson. Damon Jackson got the win by unanimous decision. Cut open, but never stopped grinding. Both these guys are real good on the ground, but Damon Jackson just was able to control the fight, and I thought that was a pretty good one. Steve Garcia KO over Charles Altaveras, I think, was a pretty easy lock that you had talked about last week. I was a little upset about the main event. I maybe gave Jason Perillo a little bit too much credit for what he would be able to do with Mackenzie Dern in such a small amount of time, but Rodriguez definitely just had the striking advantage and was able to pick her apart. And Randy Brown looked great. Jared Gooden came in way overweight, and Randy Brown put a clinic on him, I think, and made him pay for that. So that was a good one to see.
Jeff.
Yeah, we talked about it when we talked about that main event last week. It's kind of weird to say I was surprised Rodriguez won because I wasn't surprised Rodriguez won. We talked about that she definitely had what it took to win it, and I felt that she would, or I guess I should say I felt she could. So I was a little surprised when I did tune in to find out that she had and had done it by decision. I know she was in a couple of precarious positions that she was able to fight through. So everybody's already said it, and I'll say it again. You had Fury Wilder on that night. It wasn't a sexy card to really get you deep involved. I was also surprised after the fights to hear because you don't hear this a lot. James Krause, actually take credit for a loss, saying that he made some coaching mistakes in the corner of Tim Elliott. So I felt it was an interesting thing to happen because it doesn't happen that often where a coach will admit their coaching errors during a fight and in between rounds. So I thought that was pretty cool, but that's really about all I can take away from this card.
Yeah, I'll wrap us up here. Honestly, I gave a few plays last week. Romanov Garcia parlay hit, not great odds on it, but fairly easy money. Marino Rodriguez, I said at plus 160 was worth a play, and that cash. With the one loser, I took a shot on Jared Gooden plus 170 pre-weight miss. I don't know that I would have done that if I'd seen the weigh-ins, but I did have one loser there on Jared Gordon. Overall, we're to the plus. Final segment, guys. Moving ahead this week, UFC Vegas 40. Another very underwhelming card. We're just going to go around the horn for your single best play, and we're going to keep ourselves accountable beginning this week. Each guy's going to give their one play of the week. This is their lock of the week, if you will. We're going to count it for one unit, and we'll start keeping up with each guy's tally as we get week to week, how much they're up, how much they're down. So it's a one unit play, one fight. Your biggest lock of the week. Before we get into it, Greg, tell them how they can get some promo bucks over at Action 24/7.
Well, if you go to action247.com, you can sign up with your first deposit with promo code of Aries, and they'll match you up to $400. So if you put $400 in, you'll have $800 to play with. And just get on there, follow us, guys. We're the regional scene. We're going to have some fights on there, Aries, October 30th. So go on there for your odds and make some money with it and get into.
So we're going to use the Aries odds for our picks here. And Greg, I'll let you go. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm going to let you lead off here. Greg's lock of the week. And now it counts, man. One unit on anything. What would it be?
If I had to put anything, I would probably go with Jim Miller this week, going against Eric Gonzalez right here. I look at Eric Gonzalez he's got a loss to a guy that's 15-7. He's got 2 losses by submission. We know Jim Miller is a monster when it comes to the ground. I was looking at Eric Gonzalez's total record. I didn't look at Jim Miller's, but I would tell you that Eric Gonzalez is his combined record is 124-87. So his opponent's record is, I mean, it's not the best. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I think, in my opinion, this is probably one of the biggest mismatches of the card. And I think that this is one of the new guys in there that they're throwing to one of the vets on the card. And I think that this is going to be one of the ones where Jim Miller could possibly get that sub at some point in time. I don't know what the odds will be on there on Action 24/7. I'm sure it's plus. But I would sprinkle a little on that, but my lock is going to – and I don't like that lock being over minus 120, but Jim Miller is my winner for the weekend.
All right, Greg Hopkins goes with Jim Miller, actually minus 220 there with his lock of the week. I don't hate it. Torres, if you had to pick one fight on here, what would it be?
So you got Julian Marquez and Jordan Wright, and Jordan Wright, he won his last one. It was on UFC 261. 260 was one of them. But he fought in May, whenever the fight was in May. But he fought on that card, man, and got an early first round knockout, man, after being knocked out by Joaquin Buckley. In that second round, and Buckley just taking it hard to him. So it looked like he got back on the right track. Julian Marquez is on a 2-fight win streak. That's going to be a really nice fight. I think Julian Marquez got 2 finishes back-to-back as well. So it's going to be hard to lean, but I'm going to go with Julian Marquez in that one. I think Julian Marquez is going to take that fight. Jordan is still growing. Sometimes he fights off that back foot a lot, and it hurts him sometimes. But we'll see what type of pressure he can establish early on. But I think Julian Marquez get the victory in that one. I don't know if it will be a fin. It could. Somebody's going to get finished. Those are the type of guys that really used to try to finish. It'll be the second round. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes in the third round and you'll see a finish. But I see a finish happening in that fight.
Torres Finney takes Julian Marquez. What's that?
Greg, what you say?
Oh, I'm sorry. I want to know if it was the finish or Marquez.
Just Marquez.
Marquez.
So Torres goes with Julian Marquez minus 255 as his lock. Justin, what you got?
I will take the Batgarel and Davis fight. I think I'm going with Batgarel. Davis is on a 4-fight win streak since leaving the UFC and getting to come back here. But a lot more experience than Batgarel. But I think that it's kind of a scary play because Brandon Davis is so gritty and always coming, but I think that stylistically Batgarel is just going to be too technical for him and probably get a decision here.
Justin Watson with Dana Batgarel at minus 180 is his lock. I'll go ahead and jump in before Hobbs because I know Hobbs is going to go with the main event. And I'm going to go with Manon Fiorot as my lock at minus 245. I'm real high on this chick. I think she is a savage. I think that she's going to rip through Mayra Bueno Silva. And until she gets up to the ranked girls, I'm going to ride her all the way. Manon Fiorot minus 245, my lock. Hobbs, wrap us up for this episode.
Yep. Well, my lock of the week is going to fuck all your parlays up. But I tell you, man, I just got a feeling. I can't really explain it, but I am going the under 4.5 rounds on the main event. And I know a lot of these female fights tend to like to go the distance. I do not think this one is going to go over 4.5 rounds. I think Ladd just getting pulled from the last card. Was overweight, still went through somewhat of a weight cut, obviously, to get down as close as she did, then not fighting, then coming back and fighting, a little bit of controversy, not controversy, but having to answer questions about how she was gifted this main event after missing weight, a lot of distractions. And then you got Dumont, who was in a lot sexier fight, fighting former champion Holly Holm, probably a little disappointed that fight's not happening. And I feel either way this fight goes, somebody is finishing somebody in this fight. So I am going the under 4.5 rounds on the main event. And Action 24/7 has it at a plus 103. So pretty much even money, double it. And that's the way I'm closing out my card.
Jeff Hobbs with the under 4.5 rounds on that main event. If you put all these together and parlay all 5 of our best plays, you get plus 800. So maybe you give it a shot. I actually like everybody's plays except for maybe Justin's. I may go Brandon Davis plus 150 just because I think he can wrestle a little bit. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm probably wrong. Man, that's going to wrap us up, guys. We appreciate everybody for hanging out with us for the 0 Hour episode 3. We'll be back next week. More interviews, more previews. Check out all the other interviews on the channel. We've got several fighter focus features going up around about every day now, I think. So shoot us a like, hit the subscribe button, and we will see you guys next week for another edition of the 0 Hour. Peace out, y'all.
See ya.